Late September and early October in France. Summer dwindling and wilting into a trustingly chilly autumn. But what's the clay bridge that slides you between seasons? I'm Alexandra Lawton, and we're here at Roland-Garros.
The Roland-Garros Set.
Hello, my name is Ronald Lafaye, coach to the star, and you're listening to the Roland-Garros Set.
Hello. Day 8 at Roland-Garros always starts with a bit of sun, but in true Garros form, we never have any idea what the weather will bring later, so we can only cross our fingers. But today we've got Halep versus Polish hopeful Swiatek, Zverev versus Sinner, and Nadal versus Korda, and much more. But that Korda bloke, an American who idolizes Nadal so much, he actually named his cat Rafa. Unsettling. Anyway, today we talk to the coaches, those that deal with the physical and those that deal with the mental. Of course, I don't mean insane. I'm talking more psychological well-being. So let's go Koch with the coaches. I was wandering around the canteen, as you do, trying to get a hot beverage, and I bumped into Nick Brown. Hello.
Good morning. How you doing?
Well, I'm okay. Still in search for that hot drink. Lord knows we need it. But you, sir, are a giant in the old coaching game. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you've done?
Well, I used to be a pro player. I played on the pro circuit for about 8 years.
I knew that.
And then when I retired from playing, I went into teaching, and I was lucky enough to come across Pat Cash's coach, Ian Barkley, who I worked with as a player a little bit towards the end of my career, and also I spent 10 years being mentored by him. So 10
years?
Because Ian was probably one of the best tactical coaches in the world, and he took Pat Cash from 12 years old to Wimbledon champion. And so I learned a great deal from him. My apprenticeship of teaching I put down to him, and of course along the way you come across other people in certain situations. When I played for Great Britain Davis Cup, came across Tony Pickard, was around him for a while, who used to work with Stefan Edberg. So you never stop really learning in this game.
No, speaking of learning, didn't you teach the Cambridge University tennis team?
Yes, still do, actually, because I live in Cambridge. I've been in Cambridge now for about 17, 18 years. So
all the British are familiar with the sounds, "Come on, Tim!" You coached Tim Henman, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I worked with Tim when he was 11, 12, when he was part of a scholarship scheme set up by David Lloyd, former player, a very successful businessman in the UK. He was one of 12 boys who used to go to Reed School in Cobham, and they used to come every day to the club, and we used to train them for 2 hours, 4 till 6 days a week. And he was passionate about his tennis. Probably in the pecking order of those boys, he was probably number 8.
How many boys were there?
There were 12. A couple of the other boys, Jamie Delgado, who's now working with Andy Murray. He went on to win the Junior Orange Bowl at 14.
And when you saw Tim, did you think, my gosh, that guy could go all the way to the semis at Wimbledon?
Well, if I said that, I'd probably lie. But actually, what we did see him is a passion for tennis. He loved the game. He was a student of the game. He played in a very offensive way of playing.
What did he do well?
Well, he had great hands. He read the game well. He used to come in all the time. And, of course, as a junior trying to play that game, you don't have a lot of success because, obviously, you don't have the physicality to be able to cover the net, deal with the options, and you're still learning that transition of what ball is right to come forward. And probably for him, he would admit this, one of the greatest achievements for him was when he made the semi-final here, which is amazing to do that on a clay court, playing the way he did.
Well, I mean, grass, that was his game, wasn't it? But why didn't he go beyond the semis? I think that's one thing the British really want to know, you know?
Well, he was in an era of playing against some of the greatest players in the world. Pete Sampras, Leighton Hewitt, Andy Roddick, Ed Berg, all these guys. So Tim would be the first to admit that he actually, in my opinion, totally overachieved his ability, which is incredible. Number 4 in the world, 6 times Grand Slam semi-finalist, and he built his ranking primarily around playing fast indoor courts, hard courts, And
hang on. That's just a little reminder that masks are extremely important down here in the canteen, especially when you're eating soup.
Yeah, a bit difficult for that. I've been told so many times, put up your mask, it's not high enough. I probably want to cover my eyes with it, probably.
When you're looking at something like Roland-Garros and what we're saying today, I mean, you're looking at Halep right now.
Swiatek, because Swiatek is one of the girls that I help.
You help Swiatek?
Along with her coach, I help as a consultant to her game development.
She's a big hope.
Well, I started working with her about 2.5 years ago when I saw her here actually in the juniors, and because I'd done quite a bit of work for the Polish Federation. Used to work with the Olympic team, Davis Cup team. She actually won Junior Wimbledon 2 years ago.
Yeah. There's a contention that she might actually go right to the finals, Swiatek.
Well, I think it's a big ask.
I mean, it's Halep Swiatek now, and Halep is also another contender.
I mean, Halep's certainly, number one seed. I mean, for me, the favourite to win here by a mile, just purely on her match experience.
And looking at the other players, and given you're an old hat in the game, let's say.
Yeah, you're making me feel old.
You don't look old, don't worry, honestly.
You keep teaching, you see, working with young people to make you feel, surround yourself by young people.
Do you think you could teach me?
Why not?
That you genuinely meant that? Goodness, really?
Well, it's good to be able to get you on the court, assess your game.
I am actually going to take you up on that, I'm sorry. But when you're looking at other players, who do you get frustrated by and wish you could, clip over the head and say, you should be doing more of this? And who do you think is doing the right thing to win?
Well, I think, when you're a coach, you're always kind of analysing things subconsciously when you're watching. That may be on a technical basis or tactical. Because you see somebody like Stefano Tsitsipas, for instance, terrific talent, great ability. For me, one of the best athletes I've seen since possibly Bjorn Borg and Stefan Edberg, the way they move on the court. He moves on the court. He moves very similar. He makes that transition from the baseline to the forecourt, effortlessly. And his physicality is probably one of the biggest strengths of his game. And yet within that, tactically, his awareness of what to do, what shot to play when he gets to the net is often found wanting, number one. In big moments, in big matches, and that's the difference when you watch somebody like Roger Federer, he always seems to make the right choice. I remember watching Martina Hingis here when she was young, when she was 12 actually, she won the junior title here. I mean, it's phenomenal at 12 years old. How is it possible to physically compete with possibly 17, 18-year-olds? And she did. And the one thing that struck me about her when I saw her play was that basically she was like watching Chris Evert, an old head on young shoulders. She never, ever seemed to make the wrong choice of shot.
So you are forever analysing. Do you take that off the court sometimes? When you're looking at people here, I don't know, civilians, pedestrians, me walking in here, do you think she could have walked in better there?
Well, no, not at all. I tried to just enjoy the moment,
This idea of having, coaches for your mentality, how long's that been around? Because there's a physical coach and then there's a mentalist coach, which sounds like something diabolical, but it's not. Yeah,
I think sports psychologists have obviously been in sport for a long time. At the start, you probably have people who mentor you or close friends to you who advise you through your life in certain situations. And it's no different with tennis. I think it's somebody you trust, somebody who completely has your interests as number one priority. The danger for me sometimes is when you get somebody external who's an expert sports psychologist. They kind of complicate things. Because in tennis, you're making a lot of decisions very quickly all the time. And so therefore you have to have a systematic way of kind of thinking under pressure, and most people learn that from playing lots of matches. And that's what's advantageous about playing in France, because the French system here encourages a lot of juniors to play all the time. Whereas a lot of other countries, a little bit like in the UK too, it's all about hitting balls, training, whatever, and your learning capacity is sometimes you don't learn as quick as you need to be to make that transition. So it can be psychologically discombobulating. Yeah, I think I think one of the top American psychologists, Jim Lure, was the first guy to kind of make it big in tennis, as it were, because he used to work with Sampras. He worked with Sharapova. And when you're working with somebody like him, he has a methodology, like a lot of people do, of actually you must behave like this in between the points. To then allow yourself to kind of clear your mind of what's gone on, good or bad, and then to help you reset and visualize what you want to do in literally in the next moment and the next point.
Okay. Well, this has been absolutely fascinating, Nick. Thank you so much. Who are you commentating today?
I am lucky enough to be on Yannick Sinner, one of the up-and-coming...
Fantastic skier.
Yeah, young Italian players. He's made headlines last year by winning the Next Gen Masters, and it's going to be an interesting match because he plays Alexander Zverev, and it'll be a tough match for both players. So,
Nick, thank you so much for having me here and coming on the Roland-Garros Set, and I hope I catch you down the line.
Yeah, pleasure. Looking forward to analysing your game.
No, I'm holding you to that. Check you later.
All right, have a good day.
Did you know?
Talking to Nick Brown, what a great coach he is, pottering and analysing everything there is to analyse at Roland-Garros. But I've just bumped into... Hello.
Hello,
Yes, what's your name?
Antoine,
Where are you from, Antoine?
Paris.
Now, I want to give you a tennis fact. Are you interested?
Okay.
Okay, now, who do you think the tallest tennis player in history was?
Oh, I really don't know.
Well, it's Ivo Karlovic. He's 6'10", and the Croatian holds the record also for the fastest serve at 156 miles per hour, fastest second serve at 144 miles per hour, and in 2007, Antoine, he became the fourth player in the world to record more than 1,000 aces in just one season. Have you learned something today?
Yeah, sure.
Are you enjoying the tournament? How is it going so far?
It's really great. We have a lot of rain, but it's the particularity of this year, I think.
I love how you said, we've had a lot of rain, but the sun only just came out when you said that.
Yeah. Just for this moment.
Well, thank you so much, Antoine. Have a great tournament.
Thank you.
Now, the next coach I'm going to talk to is a chap named Ronald Lafaye. Now, he's all the way in Bordeaux. He couldn't come to Garros this year because, A, he wasn't invited. Ha, ha, ha. Only joking. But if Ronald's listening to this later, then he'll know it's a joke. But obviously, we've got 1,000 spectators a day, and it's fairly closed doors. So this will be on the phone. Let's see what he's got to say. Ronald, bonjour.
Hello.
Now, Ronald is a Frenchman who apparently can't speak English that well, but I think he's faking. But we will be doing this interview, just so you know, in French. Ronald, tell me, you're a coach for who?
J'ai été le coach de...
I've coached Stéphane Robert, Gilles Simon.
Gilles Simon.
We spoke a bit about the coach, the mentality, le mental. You brought this idea really to France, no?
Ouais, en fait, moi, il y a quelques années...
Yes, a few years ago, I said to myself that there's something's missing when helping the players progress.
Pour faire progresser les joueurs, comme j'étais coach indépendant...
As an independent coach, I knew we needed better results, so I turned to mentality coaching. It's not a method that really existed in France.
What's the difference between being a coach for the mentality and a coach for the physical?
Alors moi, je pense que, en fait, moi, j'étais coach technique.
I was a coach in technique, physicality and mentality. I did all three. Here in France, we separate everything. We don't prioritize the mentality side, because if the technical and physical side checks out, you're fine. But I think that the mentality drives technique and drives the physical.
Il est au centre de la technique, il est au centre du physique.
And what about Gilles Simon? What's his mental? What's his mentality like?
Gilles, ce qu'il voulait, c'était de jouer.
What Gilles wanted was to play all the time. He was also capable of playing all the time. In his mind, there was no question. Gilles is like a child. He likes to play, forever wanting to play.
Donc, il aime bien jouer. Voilà, il voulait jouer tout le temps.
I see. Okay. And so what's the biggest problem tennis players have today with their mentality?
C'est de vivre au moment présent.
Right.
C'est au moment où je te parle,
It's to live in the present. It's moments like listening to the person talking to you.
Je mange, c'est sentir ce
When
que
you
je
eat,
mange.
noticing and tasting what you're eating. It's to be present in everything you do.
En fait, il y a
There are very few people that know how to decidedly switch on and be present.
commande. Et au tennis, la difficulté,
In tennis, you spend more than 80% of your time thinking and around 20% of your time playing. It's about being able to press the on and off button in your mind when you need to concentrate and when you need to relax. That's the biggest difficulty for everyone.
ou quand j'ai besoin d'en sortir. C'est vraiment ça la grosse difficulté pour tout le monde.
Your brain and your feeling, so your body and your mind, are two things that are cut off from each other. They're different.
Nous, en France, on est plutôt cartésien, à tout contrôler. Donc,
Here in France, we have a Cartesian way of thinking. We try to take control of everything.
philosophe,
The philosopher Descartes talks about this. There's another philosopher called Spinoza who says that the body and spirit are linked.
le mental, faut déjà se définir.
Before we talk about mentality, we have to philosophically define what it is we want.
Et nous, en France, clairement,
It's clear that we, the French, continue to adopt the Cartesian way even when we prepare mentally. For me, the French won't be able to play to a higher level.
on va pas accéder.
Personally, performance is a balance of all of the above, a duality of
La
things.
performance, finalement, c'est un
You
équilibre.
can't progress if you try to understand or control everything.
Et je pense que c'est pas tout ou rien, quoi. C'est pas tout comprendre.
There aren't many French players that are winning tennis today or for a while. Do you think the Spinoza Descartes philosophy has something to do with that?
En France, on n'a pas réglé ce problème-là. Je
In
pense
France, we haven't solved this problem.
que d'être un champion,
I think that to be a champion, you need to think about your personality.
à sa personnalité, dans l'entraînement, pour moi,
In training, there needs to be a practice and reflection on where your mentality is, how to concentrate, how to detach.
c'est quoi le détachement? Parce que c'est des thèmes.
These are things that apply to competition. This is at the very core of performance, and in France, we're far from conquering that.
Et en France, on est loin de tout ça. On est très très loin de tout ça.
Watching the tournament, watching Roland-Garros now, who has the mentality to win in both men's and women's?
Alors moi, je suis fan de Djokovic, pour tout te dire.
And I'm a fan of Djokovic because I think he's raised the bar in the mental game.
A inventé un très très haut mental dans le
He's
tennis.
brought meditation to tennis. He's really pushed this necessary
Il a
aspect.
vraiment poussé très très loin.
So obviously he's my favourite. So there it is.
Moi, évidemment, j'en fais mon favori, mais bon.
Bon, bah, Ronald Lafaye, merci beaucoup d'être parti de le Roland-Garros Set. J'espère que tu profites de tournoi aussi. Well, that is interesting, isn't it? That the tennis players, they have to maintain their mentality as much, if not more, in fact, than their physicality. We always knew that it's a mental game, tennis, but so interested to hear what Ronald and Nick had to say. Ooh, you can hear the wind going. That's it from me for today, day 8. Join me tomorrow for day 9 on the Roland-Garros Set. If you have any comments or stories that you'd like to share with us, please do get in contact at #Roland-Garros on Twitter, go to Facebook, or use our official Roland-Garros mobile app, or just get in contact directly with me. That's at Alexandra Lawson. Toodaloo.
The Roland-Garros Set.